I really don't understand why motorcycle lane filtering upsets so many people. I know a lot of people watching this don't feel that way, but while I'm lane filtering in traffic in Seattle, I see it all the time. People trying to cut me off, shaking their heads at me, etc. And I just don't get it. Why does this type of riding upset you so much? Like, seriously, ask yourself why. Am I being reckless in my riding here? Am I creating more hazards for you in your car? Or are you just assuming I'm an entitled asshole that gets to skip the line while you sit in traffic? Yeah, well, let me tell you why lane filtering is actually good for us motorcyclists and all you drivers on the road. So real quick, I do want to just define what lane filtering is. So it's the act of using the road space between vehicles. In countries that allow filtering, it's described as a move that motorcyclists can employ to move through stationary traffic or traffic that is traveling at a very slow pace. Filtering doesn't necessarily have to occur between two vehicles. It can also be used on the space on the outside edge of a lane, or as you can see here, I move over to the empty space through all the way through to the shoulder. So now we're going to jump into the benefits of lane filtering, and I wanted to start off with the benefits for other road users or drivers. I think this is really important because there's a lot of people that are, fairly outspoken and against lane filtering without realizing the benefits that it could provide for them. So I think a lot of people think of us when we lane filter as like queue jumping or cutting in line, etc. But that's like the wrong way to think about it. When you have motorcyclists lane filtering, we're not jumping ahead of the queue, we're completely getting out of the way. It's like we're disappearing. It's one less person in the traffic congesting traffic for you. I know no one likes to sit in traffic. I don't like to sit in traffic. That's one of the reasons I ride a motorcycle, but also it helps you. A 2012 Belgian study found that if just 10% of drivers were to switch to motorcycles and filter through traffic, travel times would decrease for the remaining car drivers by some 8 minutes per journey. So essentially what this means is motorcycle lane filtering, it's a win-win. You save time as a driver, we save time as a motorcyclist, but it's also safer for us. And I'm going to choose to believe that most drivers do want the safety for all other motorists, including motorcyclists. So let's jump into how lane filtering is much safer for the riders. So according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the United States, the most common type of accident on the road is a rear ender, and this makes up for about 40% of all accidents. And for cars, at bumper to bumper traffic speeds, that really, might not seem like a big deal. It might just be a minor fender bender, but there's really no such thing as a minor fender bender for a motorcycle. This is another main reason I choose to lane filter. I just refuse to sit in traffic hoping that I don't get rear-ended while sitting there. It's really common, cars register the car in front of you because you kind of blend into the car and then they see their taillights but not you, and so that's why these rear ends happen. I've had too many close calls. I'm not going to sit in traffic just keeping my fingers crossed that I don't get rear-ended, and that's why I always recommend lane filtering for other riders, because it's just safer for us. As long as you're doing lane filtering in a safe way and you're not being reckless, it's so much safer for you. So a study where Berkeley collaborated with the California Highway Patrol, they looked at 7,800 motorcycle crashes, 1,100 of those involving motorcycle lane filtering, and they found that the motorcyclists that were lane filtering were significantly less likely to be injured in every category than those who were not lane filtering. So 45% fewer head injuries, 21% fewer neck injuries, 32% fewer torso injuries, and 12% fewer arm or leg injuries, and 55% fewer fatalities. That's really the number that I think is most important. There's less deaths, and that is so crucial, and lane filtering needs to be taken seriously and legalized in all states so that we can have more people still alive riding their bikes. Some other pros or benefits I figured I might as well throw in there is obviously it's more environmentally friendly. Cars that are just sitting there idling, horribly inefficient. Motorcycles tend to get much better mileage, they take less resources, etc. So they're pretty great for that. But also when you allow for lane filtering, it just raises more awareness around motorcyclists. I feel like people are seeing more motorcyclists when we're lane filtering, and they just might have motorcyclists on their mind more and be looking out for motorcyclists more, which is also really important because a lot of accidents happen because drivers don't see motorcyclists because they're not used to having to look for them or think about them. So raising awareness is also super important. And then the last thing that I think is also kind of an indirect benefit or pro of lane filtering is it makes for better motorcyclists. Like, that's kind of a skill you don't really get to practice a lot in just like everyday riding is slow maneuvering. Lane filtering allows for, the slow maneuvering, which is a really important skill to have, the control of your clutch, your throttle, your rear brake, etc. It's a really important skill to have, and lane filtering allows you to develop that more and more every day. And so it just makes for better motorcyclists. So all in all, In short, if like motorcyclists are allowed to the front and allowed to lane filter, we all win. Everybody wins. Doesn't matter if you ride a motorcycle, used to ride a motorcycle, drive a car, etc. If we allow for lane filtering, it's safer, commute times are reduced, and everyone gets to win. If you were against lane filtering at first, I really hope this at least got you to think about why you might be against lane filtering. Completely open to cons of lane filtering. Feel free to comment those down below. Yeah, just let me know what you all think. I am really curious. If you agree with me and think lane filtering is great, it's safer for everybody, and it should be a thing, contact your local legislators. Let's get this legalized in every state so that we can continue to ride our motorcycles and feel safe while doing so, or at least as safe as we can. If you guys enjoyed this content, I make all sorts of motorcycle videos. I build custom motorcycles, as you've seen this one I'm riding. I do reviews. I make videos similar to this. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow along for all the different motorcycle content I'm making. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Catch you later in the next one. Cheers.